quite challenging, so shall we say. I mean, quite apart from, there's the grief and everything, but having to deal with things, particularly if they haven't been organised effectively in advance, it's just so much harder. And fortunately, I was able to reach out to a friend who was a lawyer who, was able to put in place, an updated will, power of attorney, etc. In a bit of a tight space, and so I was legally able to do quite a few things. But knowing how important that was, for me and for for my uncle, who then passed away relatively quickly, unfortunately. But I know that there was so much relief that he felt when he knew that somebody else was looking after things and things were being organised. And so, I tapped back into that a little bit when I was thinking about whether or not to become a lawyer again and to essentially be doing this. And I realised that actually it's so important.
Adding enormous value.
Oh, no doubt about it. When people are going through grief, they don't want to be worried about forms and this and that, and to have somebody look after that, it's such an important part of the grieving, right? And the moving forward.
And even particularly, I get it a lot with clients. Potentially they've been putting off getting their estate planning done, and when even just after the first appointment, I've gone through everything, and they say, "Oh, such a relief to have that," and they're not even sick or anything. They just realise that that had been something at the back of their mind that had been weighing on it.
I was saying to Aaron just before we went on here that that's a very important area for me, because there's been, as a financial planner that I was, I've still friends with two widows in my business who the husbands died, one at 44 and one at 46.
Wow. Oh gosh.
And because they were so well looked after in the risk area as a financial advisor, they all had over a couple of $1 million worth of life cover, these blokes. And so, we supported a guy called Brett Davies. Every financial planner in town backed a guy called Brett Davies. Everyone said Brett. And we built his business. Massive operation. And every planner in town, every life insurance agent used Brett. And so Brett did all this work for us, and we said, righto, well, it's a will, it's a EPA, enduring power of attorney. You've got kids, want the Testamentary Trust. I'm going to get you to talk about it, listen, explain what it is. And anyway, these widows of mine, because they had a Testamentary Trust and they had children, you know what, they didn't pay tax forever.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Dead right.
Well, you pricked my interest all of a sudden.
I mean, just amazing. Yeah, look, we dug it out of the Tax Act, back in 1990, before even people talked about it. A mate of mine and I found it, and it was just this only legal way to allow minors, children under 18, to access the adult tax rates. Right. So you could do income splitting. So both my widows had two kids, like 2 kids each.
Sure.
And so the old boys passed on, very tragic. But of course, there was no debt and a couple of $1 million worth of cash, mainly because of superannuation and the life insurance payout into the super fund. And of course, in some cases, there was not super money. It was just after tax super, non-super life insurance. But they had around a couple of $1 million to invest. Yeah. And so instead of having investing the $2 million and getting a 5% return, getting $100,000 a year, and the wife paying tax on $100,000, call it $30,000 a year, right? About 26 now, roughly. You could actually split that $100,000 worth of income between her and the 2 kids.
Yeah, so important.
So they've all got $30,000 each, and bingo, they pay $2,500.
It's a big difference.
And so $9,000 against $30,000. Yeah. And so can't say they didn't pay tax at all, but they had very minimal tax.
Yeah, sure.
And that's about right, isn't it?
That's magic of tax minimisation.
Minimisation. Yes. And so did I get all that right?
Yeah.
Is there something you'd like to add to what a testamentary trust is?
So Well, I mean,
there's more to it.
Yeah,
Asset
I mean,
protection. Can you expand on
the
it?
tax is very important, and I'm not a tax lawyer, but yeah, absolutely. Being able to income stream, and that's what I quite often say for people if they do have that, particularly that massive life insurance policy, and there's maybe not that much debt, then thinking about whether that is potentially going to go into that testamentary trust and have all of those benefits, but. From my point of view as a lawyer, I'm worried about risk, obviously. Yeah. So it's actually more the protective mechanisms of the testamentary trust that, are key to me. And, for instance, for both of those ladies that have, lost their partner, as long as they keep their inheritance inside that testamentary trust, if they get married again in the future, they don't have to worry about the future spouse potentially trying to take that money in a divorce.
Predatory behaviour.
Oh, look,
so
that's a biggie.
Protection from the family court, protection from even trustees in like bankruptcy, which is like nothing else protects from them. Also protecting money if that you've got beneficiaries, apart from ones that are likely to get divorced or something. If there's likely to be, say, a loss of capacity, or if there's a lot of young beneficiaries, they're going to be underage, it's great to have that, the protective mechanisms, but then also there's a structure in place to enable, more effective investments and also transition of power, so to speak, in terms of who's looking after the money and controlling the trust. Because, for instance, if you end up with grandchildren inheriting and they're still quite young and it's grandparents that end up being the executors and trustees initially, somewhere along the line they might get too old. And
very good point.
So if you've got that testamentary trust,
it will definitely happen.
Got the testamentary trust, they can appoint somebody else to look after things.
A younger, next one down.
Somebody else in the line, before the children are old enough to actually take over and look after their own testamentary trust.
Yeah,
powerful.
Very much so. So from an investment point of view too, sometimes you've got to be quite flexible and you've got to be able to make some moves in a hurry, so to speak. And a lot of traditional places that you might put your money, it's tied up and you can't actually take advantage of these opportunities. So with the trust, do you have that flexibility?
We can, pretty much do whatever you want. Yeah. So I just, refer people to go and see financial advisors, accountants. The accountants generally, practically speaking, set it up, and then how you manage that trust to what's in it, how it's invested, all of those kind of things. It's pretty much the choice of the trustee, which, ideally that's the main beneficiary, but it might be, say, the executor initially, and then they're looking after things until the beneficiaries are old enough or able to then take over. But it can be as simple or as complicated as the person wants.
Right. So as part of the trust, can you stipulate, say, not an age of 18, say an age of 25, or because let's face it, we all thought we were mature at 18. But I mean, if I had a big chunk of money at that age, I would have gone and bought some very, very nice cars.
Absolutely.
Not a smart investment, right? Enjoyable investment, but not
there's
smart.
The occasional
lifestyle
nice car.
Lifestyle expense.
It's a lifestyle expense, but perhaps, maybe if I got to say 25 or 30, you've got a little bit more life experience behind you.
20. I can quite often, when I'm talking to clients, and one of my earlier questions is, what age did you want the kids to inherit? If they say 25, then I know it's more likely they're probably going to be wanting a testamentary trust. Actually, it's more of an indication. Sometimes it's 21. I'm not sure I've ever done one for anybody who's going to be 18, but that's the youngest legally that people can inherit. But generally, people that have those testamentary trusts have that, that long-term plan, long-term vision, and they really value the legacy that they're leaving behind. And they don't want it.
You just used one of the most important words, legacy.
Legacy.
Okay, legacy.
Hence the name of the business.
Yes.
It really is. Now, I did notice, Damo has popped in to say good afternoon to us, which is lovely to see.
Go, Damo.
Damo, if you've got any questions, mate, don't be shy about this. We've got an expert in the room who knows a lot more than I do on this one, let's face it. So if you want to pick Fiona's brains when it comes to all the legalities of things and structures, it makes such a difference. If you just run through life and you don't know about these structures, you don't have the knowledge, my word, you are throwing money away. And if we're talking about legacy, you're thinking about what you're leaving for your kids. Well, don't you want to leave them in the best possible situation you can?
Absolutely. Right. Protect them against evil future ex-spouses and things.
Dead right. No, it's so good. All right. Look, so testamentary trust. Tell us about EPOs, enduring powers of attorney, and why they're so important.
Okay. So like I do a package when I see clients of basically like wills, power of attorney, power of guardianship, sometimes advanced health directives. Obviously the will deals with things after you pass away.
Sure.
The other documents are beforehand. Power of attorney is really important because it enables you to appoint somebody to make financial decisions on your behalf.
Okay.
So if the wheels have come off, unfortunately, say dementia or even car accident, coma, that kind of thing, you want to be able to appoint somebody who can legally take over and keep those financial balls rolling. Okay. So whether it's to hopefully there's something still around when you recover, or potentially to then pass on into your estate. It's very important. Bills are paid, and you're basically authorising somebody in advance to look after your bank account, shares, property, paying bills, all of that kind of stuff. Yep. But you basically, whoever is left around to try and organise things for you basically can't do anything unless they've got that, because the banks won't deal with them, Landgate won't deal with them, most organisations won't deal with them without that legal authority.
So important. Can I give a real live example of an EPA? Oh, guys. So we had a situation where I had this gig with Rio Tinto for about 10 years, managing about 450 of their employees in the Northern Territory, big gig. Anyway, so these mining guys and girls travel all over the place. So I organised this young couple with a whole bunch of stuff, all their insurances, got their super sorted out and blah, blah, blah. And then they go back to their own hometown in the coal mining country around Newcastle, a place called Maitland. And have you ever been to the Maitland pub?
I can't say I have.
I haven't, but apparently it's tough.
Right.
Anyway, one of my clients got belted, king hit the deck and in a coma straight away. Off to Newcastle, intensive care. And I had done everything except I couldn't control them getting off to go and see the lawyer. So I got all the instructions. You've got to go and get this done. Didn't have any of it. So I had fully insured everything, trauma insurance, so $380,000 worth of trauma insurance on this bloke. And that's where if you have a number of physical or mental episodes, they're trigger events for a trauma insurance payout. It's a life insurance product. And like 90% of payouts are stroke, heart attack, bypass surgery, MS. And anyway, so on the in the intensive care unit, all the monitoring equipment confirmed he'd had a stroke. Bing, trigger for a $380,000 payout. Guess what?
What's that?
We couldn't do.
What's that?
Pay the $380,000 out. Why?
Why?
His wife didn't have an EPA.
Yeah.
Right. She had to sign on behalf of him under an EPA. So we're just waiting for this poor bugger to come good, right?
Yeah.
And he might never have come out of the coma, which would just drop $380,000, which his wife would have had the benefit of
course.
Because it would be ongoing medical costs, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah,
anyway.
You've got mortgage to pay.
Yeah.
And I was here keeping track of everything with the local lawyer in Maitland to go and check him out. Said, mate, this is the deal. As soon as he bloody gets close to waking up,
hold his head.
Get this.
Hold this image. You with a clipboard.
Anyway, guess what? His eyes started flickering. He stood up. No, he didn't stand up. No. He sort of half sat up. And so thankfully I got this lawyer to say that he was, and of course the lawyers would always do the right thing. Okay.
Yeah, got to have capacity. Yeah,
got to have capacity.
Yeah.
And the old lawyer's going, oh, you're right. Anyway,
the consequences if it goes wrong.
I got everything signed. Yep, he's all good. And then he signed the EPA. And then he signed the claim form.
Yep.
And we got the $380K paid out. Right.
Excellent.
So that was just
done.
Whoa. We're lucky, but he had to wake up.
A lot of relief there. Hey, some questions have just popped in, and I just want to bring this one up on the screen. So this is from Damo. I asked before if you had a question. Thanks, mate. So does my wife automatically become my power of attorney, or do I need to set it up?
No, well, that pretty much answers it. That
Yeah.
story, doesn't it? Yeah, you
Yeah.
still need to
does.
set it up. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, that's really important. I know
Yeah.
when many years ago when my mum passed away, it was very sudden. It was, just we weren't prepared in any way.
Mm.
And like from my point of view, I was a young adult. I was 23. And all I did is I didn't know what to do. Paying the bills. Okay, I just started paying bills. Bill. Had no idea. Don't know when the money's going to come in. And luckily, I was doing all right, so it came out of my account and that sort of thing.
Yeah, quite often that happens. Yeah,
Yeah.
Somebody basically has to try and bankroll things until there's money available.
Yeah,
it happens with estates.
Okay.
Quite often too.
Yeah, for months and months because things were murky, I guess, and not the paperwork was not put together properly. I'm told anyway. So there we go.
Yeah, there you go. So we've done wills if you're dead, and we've got a body, and you've got a policy. The policy pays out, but if you're dead, the will sorts everything out.
Gotcha.
Right?
Yep.
Yeah. Post death is the will. Pre death is power of attorney.
Sure.
Yeah. And the guardianship's there for medical and lifestyle decisions.
Oh, thank you for that. Explain that. So
a lot of people don't realise there's a difference. So there's the enduring power of guardianship.
Yes.
So that's around medical and lifestyle decisions.
Thank you.
So deciding where you live, how you cared for,
right,
potentially turning off life support.
And you appoint someone to be the guardian.
Yes.
Yes, the legal guardian to go. Yeah. Turn the machine off.
Yeah.
Got it. Right.
Yeah. And to a degree, kind of going back to Damo's question. Thanks for that. There's a kind of I suppose an understanding or an expectation, for instance, hospitals and medical facilities that, so the next of kin would be the person making that decision. But for some people, that's not actually who they would want to make the decision.
Yes.
So having that enduring power of guardianship legally appoints somebody into that role to make those medical and lifestyle decisions.
Sure.
Yep. So they're the one that does that. So it's like a medical hierarchy, basically.
So if you haven't done it, who then will make those decisions for you?
Well, it'd be most likely if you've got a spouse, then potentially children.
Okay.
Not everybody's got a great relationship with either their spouse or their children sometimes.
That's right. Yeah.
Exactly.
And depending on there's so many different factors that can come in.
Me off in seconds. Take questions.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But also you find unfortunately
another whole segment on that one. That's right.
That's right.
I don't help with that. But you also find with the enduring power of guardianship, for instance, if this is for people who've got aging parents, for instance, that are listening, it's important to make sure that they've got those powers of attorney and guardianship in place, not necessarily so that they're ever used. Hopefully they never are used. But if they need to go into an aged care facility, from my understanding, the aged care facilities will actually preferentially take someone who's got all of those documents in place.
Okay.
Rather than somebody who doesn't.
Righto.
Didn't know that.
So if you've got two people, it'll take the one that's organised because they want to know there's somebody there that can, pay the bills, make decisions, etc. So,
brilliant.
Yeah.
It's a big deal. Some more questions coming through. A little note there from Travis Carter, who's up there in Vietnam. He's very happy to see you back on the couch, mate. Apparently, that's a smile on his face.
It's nice to have fans.
Absolutely. Now, Damo's back. So Damo, clearly he's a man who needs some more information, and trust me, mate, I understand this, Damo. This is the great thing. I mean, getting experts who actually understand. We're not winging it. This is a great thing.
Live on radio.
Yeah.
Hard to believe. That's good, isn't it? It's a bit quirky.
Hopefully it's helping people. Yeah.
It's great.
It's nice. Now, can you guys set that up for my wife and I? Hang on. I did not know that it's definitely not taught. Well, that's very true. You certainly won't see that at school, will you?
No.
This kind of stuff should be.
Yeah,
should be.
Thoroughly agree.
Yeah, definitely.
But okay, so that is obviously something you could look at.
Yeah, definitely. So
can I do a promo?
Oh, yeah.
Definitely.
Righto. Don't know. This is the deal. Wise Legal.
Legacy.
Wise Legacy. Fiona Tremlett. And you can contact her on wiselegacy.com.au, or you could even phone her direct on 0416 224 134.
I feel like doing.
Was I okay to do that?
Yeah, it's a bit late now.
Hey, I feel like that number again. Hey, here we go.
Or maybe I should phone the office number. Crazy. But anyway, so there you go. Go to that website, Damo. And if you want to email Fiona directly, it's fiona@wiselegacy.com.au.
And I do obligation-free initial appointments,
Okay.
and then just a fixed fee quote at the end, because I know it's can be a bit challenging for people to want to see a lawyer because they're scared of how much it's going to cost.
Yeah.
But I'm free to start with, and I'll let you know exactly how much.
Well, look,
that's
if you
actually-
want
He's got it. He's got your details down.
That's a massive
Obviously, mate,
takeout.
Great, I look forward to
your
meeting
little
you.
read helped out.
Well, that was fantastic, Dano. That is really good news.
Yeah.
So please don't give out Fiona's mobile number or your mates on Facebook. I'll be dead.
Bit late for that, mate.
Righto. That's pretty cool. Now, okay, so now Advanced Health Directive.
Mm,
Can you explain that?
yes.
Because that's different.
Yeah, that's different. So it's kind of like a do not resuscitate order,
Okay.
like, kind of the Australian version. So it enables people to decide, basically now, if in the future they, they've lost capacity, and they've also kind of gone past that point of no return. So there's no hope of recovery anymore. Then they can decide through that Advanced Health Directive, basically they can say, if I have some potentially life-ending event, stroke, heart attack, something like that, don't resuscitate me, don't put me on life support, just, give me pain relief and comfort and let me go. And it actually overrides your guardian.
Okay.
So,
right.
yeah,
okay.
sometimes, for instance, a good choice for people is to appoint, a friend or a child or whoever that is a very caring person.
Yep.
If it's a guardian,
Yes.
probably a good idea, because you'll probably get the best care. You'll get a room with a view rather than the cheapest option with no windows.
Yeah.
Because they'll be thinking about you rather than their back pocket.
Yeah.
But it could also be exceptionally difficult for that type of person to switch off life support.
Of course.
So if you never go onto life support in the first place, it kind of relieves them of that
responsibility. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, would you give a copy of that Advanced Health Directive to your GP?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I always recommend that people also just take it to their GP and just get them to have a look.
Right.
Because I'm not a doctor.
Yeah.
And I've set things up, and I very rarely get any changes made to mine. But I'm very happy to do what people need and what their medical professionals think is needed.
Yeah,
So
a lot of people have a great relationship with their doctor.
Yeah.
Why not tap into that?
Dead right. I'll tell you what,
Absolutely.
and if you give 15 minutes or whatever, free guidance up front without having the clock on, it's a fantastic service, because most of these lawyers want to charge you for
I do
minute you talk
it's actually a full hour. So
whoa. Okay.
a full hour.
Yeah.
Okay.
You heard it here first.
As someone,
A full hour with a fee.
as someone
No
who's
charge.
engaged a lawyer once or twice in my life,
Yeah.
that is amazing. Honestly, that is amazing.
Well, I just wanted to make it easy for people.
But it says a lot about you as a person. It really does, because lawyers get a bad rap, and I'll give them a bad rap quite often.
Quite understandably, to be fair. Some of the time. A lot of the time.
It shows that you're client focused. That's the big thing.
Yeah.
That's a really big difference.
And you're dealing with one of the best estate planning lawyers in town. I'm not just saying that. I've spoken to quite a few lawyers around town. They go, that Fiona Tremlett, she's probably one of the best. Yeah, so I haven't told you that. But there's the two or three of like barristers and these sort of guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well-known, highly credentialed, quality operators.
Take the compliment.
That
It's,
very much
it's
promote
Yeah.
Fiona big time in this area.
Thanks.
Which, of course, is why we've got her on the show, mate. We
Yeah,
only have
right.
the best of the best here, best of breed.
Of course, best of breed. Well, you just segueing into it. Hang on. He's getting a bit slick, isn't he? Look at that. You talk about best of breed. Let's talk about your pup, and let's talk about what you actually do for people for their
that's a bit unique for an estate planning lawyer.
Yeah.
Fiona.
So I'm a fur parent.
Yep.
I've actually got 3 fur babies, so 2 cats and a dog. Although Percy, my dog, he does feature. If you go onto my website, you'll see him.
Here he is here.
Yeah.
First.
He's my little cutie, son.
Yep.
So what I do is I actually assist other fur parents who love their fur kids. Then they want to make sure that they're looked after if they ever get orphaned, is to basically set up a pet care trust in their will.
Okay.
So, set aside a pot of money and make sure that they've appointed somebody to look after the pets, because, it can be quite expensive, particularly if, unfortunately, your pets get older and they get much more expensive, as I'm experiencing at the moment with Percy. And people that are, I suppose, responsible, or they've had that kind of awareness, and maybe they don't have the financial capacity to take on a pet, or they know that, they just couldn't look after it properly,
Yes.
then potentially they wouldn't take the animal on. But if it comes with a nice pot of money, that'll help to pay for all of that care and keeping up with the insurance and vet and food and travel and even boarding and all those types of things. It can.
That is fabulous.
Be really, really good. Make sure that the pets don't end up either, sadly being put down or homeless or in a facility and you can, unfortunately, it's very unlikely for an older pet to be rehomed. But my thinking is that even if for some reason the pets end up there, they've got a pot of money that comes with them.
Yeah, okay.
And they're much more likely to get rehomed.
Oh, awesome. Very popular. Yeah.
So, Fiona, who would most likely be the trustee of that trust that looks after the pot of money for the pet?
So initially it's the executor of the will.
Oh, the will. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Right, yeah, okay.
Yeah. And then they can potentially appoint somebody else if it's appropriate. But
that's very cool.
Look, I assume this is going to be quite a popular thing now. Everybody, well, not everybody, but I mean, I'm seeing an increased. People have always loved their pets, but I'm really seeing a real importance put on their pets that I haven't seen before.
Yeah.
So I mean, I can imagine a lot of people don't have kids and they really want to look after their fur babies.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can see this being increasing quite considerably.
The aging population would.
Yeah.
So true.
There, because the women always, or nearly always, survive their husbands, and so it's old Martha, and she's 90. She pulls the pin, and Lucas is he's 19 in dog years. He's nearly buggered, but he's not. And he ends up with $2 million.
Yep.
And he lives the last 3 years in luxury.
Yeah. Well, it's unusual for that much to be set aside, but unfortunately, legally, pets are counted as property. So, so it's which I think is it's a bit wrong, but anyway. I've just put that into place because, and also, part of that, obviously, apart from looking after the pets, as you say, for older people, anyone really, having a pet in your life is really important. It's it's great for stress. It's great for, particularly if you've got a dog. It's good for everybody's socialisation, and exercise, and it gives people a purpose to keep going. And if it also makes it maybe a little bit easier for somebody who's a bit older to think, okay, well, I'll probably outlive this pet, but I can have a pet care trust and make sure that they're going to be looked after. Then that gives them a bit more confidence to take on that,
Good point, right at the beginning.
Later in life.
So also, is there? I mean, I don't understand how this works, but if you become incapacitated and can't look after that pet anymore, is there insurance for that, or is it only for death?
I can only really put it in the will, so after death. But I suppose if you're super organised and you can put things in place. Yeah.
I don't know, just another option, isn't it?
Yeah, fantastic.
Got to look at your options.
Now, there's one thing. So that's great. The pet side, we've covered that. Very valuable area. Nomination of beneficiaries, right? Especially in super, and then binding nomination of beneficiaries.
Yes.
Can you explain why it's so important to nominate beneficiaries, which is an obvious one, but then expand on it when it comes to why a binding. Thank you.
Yep.
A binding nominated beneficiary is more important.
Yes. So, incredibly important. So, I mean, superannuation is quite often the biggest asset or second biggest asset that somebody would leave behind, particularly if there's a good pot of life insurance.
Okay.
And how superannuation is set up is that basically there's a trustee of the super fund, whatever you're in. I don't know, Australian Super, My North, whoever. And that trustee has to decide where your death benefits go when you die, where the insurance is paid, etc. So you can nominate beneficiaries. Most people, if they've done it, have just done the simple option or online option where they've just ticked a box and said spouse or children or estate or whatever. But that's like a normal nomination, and that leaves it completely open to the trustee of the super fund to pay the money where they choose.
Trustee discretion.
They choose. And it can be challenged.
Yeah.
So, particularly for scenarios. So, for instance, if you're, you've so first marriage or whatever has ended, you've got children, you want to make sure that that super goes to the kids. A new spouse who comes in later can very easily challenge for that super and take it off the kids. And some
happens a lot.
Yeah, and some of the super funds have, various policies around how they do things and what happens and things. But what I always recommend is if you know where you want your super to go, do a binding death benefit nomination because it binds the trustee of the super fund to pay the money where you've directed. Yes. So there's a limited number of people that can be nominated in that scenario. Generally, it's spouses and children or your estate. So that, and it kind of becomes a bit of a strategy as to, obviously where you want it to go, how important it is to go in certain directions. But in any event, just having that binding nomination, it prevents challenges. Make sure that the money goes where you want it to go. And you're not leaving it up to the trustee of a super fund to make a decision, which can take months.
Yes.
And I think some of the funds have recently gotten smacked on the nose for it, some of them even taking years to pay out death benefits.
Yeah, definitely.
Which is horrendous.
Some of the industry super funds are notoriously bad.
Yeah. Particularly a lot of people, particularly, younger families, I always encourage them to make sure that they've got enough, life insurance, or death insurance really, particularly through in their super, so that if, they pass away, the family is left debt-free.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of money. And the intention is, great, mortgage gets paid out straight away.
Yep.
But if that's taking 6-12 months to eventually get paid out, it's, it's...
Well, those mortgage payments are not being paid.
Yeah, it's bad. And it's such a scary space for the family that gets left behind. And even just this week I was trying to help out a client. Well, I'll count her as a client. She hasn't actually paid me any money. She might do at some point in the future, I'm not sure. But, she is having massive difficulties getting her husband's superannuation paid out. She's the only potential beneficiary. There's no kids. But the trustee of the super fund is going, but you need to do this and you need to do that. They're trying to get her to get letters of administration because he didn't have a will. So it's expensive. You can't do letters of administration by yourself. You need a lawyer, and so you need to have to spend that money. But realistically, that's not needed. The trustee can just pay. Yeah. They're just being mean, to put it politely. Yes. And so I've been
mean-spirited.
So I've been kind of coaching her and what to say, and hopefully to get it paid out without having to go down that track. Because that's another thing too with a binding nomination. You don't need a grant of probate or a grant of letters of administration in order to apply. It's just
that's such
so
a
much simpler
point. God, I love you, Bruce. Thank you so much for bringing that up. A lot of people don't know that if you own your own home as joint tenants, right?
Yep.
Not tenants in common, joint tenants. That and super operates outside your will.
Yep.
Is that right, isn't it?
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, have you got a binding nomination? Yeah.
Yep. And so it's like it's outside your will. Like a lot of people don't understand the difference between joint tenants and tenants in common.
Well, I know. Look, this is only a concept that came into my mind only a couple of years ago, to be honest with you, because it's not something you think about. You meet someone, you fall in love, you build a house together, all that kind of carry on. Well, you don't plan for these things in the future. Things change.
Yeah. So joint tenants is simply Bill and Betty are married, and Bill dies, Betty automatically gets the house.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
basically, they both own 100% at the same time.
100%. Yeah, it's a great way of explaining it. But we had someone in the other day, and it was a second marriage for her. She was 40. She had 3 kids, teenage kids, and she's a toy boy, right?
Okay.
And he's like in his late 20s. He's got no money, and they're thinking about buying a house. And of course, I'm going, righto, well, she had $500,000 worth of cash from her previous marriage. He had nothing. Like, he had about 40 grand. And they're going to buy a house together. And I said, okay, so if you're going to buy a house together, how are you going to buy it? What are you talking about? I said, well, will it be joint tenants or tenants in common? I said, well, I don't know what everyone else does. Like, no idea. And I said, but hang on a minute. Can I ask a question about where this, if you die, Sally, would you want that $500,000 that's actually could be buried in this new house you're going to buy with your new boyfriend to go to the kids? She said, oh, yeah, definitely. Oh, okay.
Wow.
Well, I've got to tell you how sort of, tenants in common works,
Mhm.
because we can do 90-10, 90%. Tell me if I'm wrong. 90% is in your name of the new house you're going to buy.
Sure.
And 10% was Bobby here.
Mm.
And that 90% goes in your will if you die, which guarantees the kids get it.
Yeah,
well,
because you
is that
actually, you actually own it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you actually own that part of the asset.
And that
Sure.
forms part
Yeah.
of your will, though.
Yeah, it does.
Yes,
And
yeah.
that's quite often, I'll get, say, blended families in and, each of them are going, okay, well, I want my half of the house to go to my kids, my half of the house to go to my kids. And then I look at the certificate of title and I say, well, that's not going to happen. You own it jointly. One of you is getting the whole house, and that's the person that survives. The first of you that goes, your kids are missing out completely.
So
and
if that's the case, so that's been done, you've structured it that way because you didn't know any better.
Yeah.
How much work is it to actually get that fixed up? So that
you can split a joint tenancy pretty easily, actually.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's
it's
good to
not.
hear.
Yeah, it's not that difficult.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Just need this
Yeah.
advice.
Yeah.
You just need the experts.
Yeah,
So
and then
that's the
you
difference.
also kind of need to make sure you've got a right to reside in your will. So there's basically the children who've inherited half a house and the spouse who survived. There's not that conflict. There's a timeline where that spouse is kind of safe, so to
Sure.
speak,
Can
in
stay
the
living
house.
there. Yeah.
Without having any pressure from the outside.
Mhm.
And that's managed. So that gives the spouse some time to, A, grieve, and B, think about what they want to do. Do they want to buy the kids out of the other half of the house, or do they want to just sell it and move on, or however it all works? Yeah.
These are the details that
So
everyday person
important.
just don't know. We don't know
Well,
this.
that's the thing, like you do a post office will, you're never going to get any of this information, are you? No.
I'm so glad you brought that up. I was
Yeah.
going to ask that, funny enough. I mean, so many people think, I can just get a post office will, it costs $25 or whatever it is. I don't know. No idea what they cost. But, okay, it's so generic and there's so much missing. There are so many opportunities for it to go wrong, quite frankly.
Yeah. They're quite often, sometimes they're fine, but, quite often there are, particularly if somebody's trying to go into a huge amount of detail about what they want to happen, they'll miss things and that'll cause problems if they're trying to get probate, or it's not executed correctly, or people's names have been spelt incorrectly, or there's so many different things that can go wrong. But, outside of that, there's all the things that, we've been discussing today that you're never going to know about your superannuation and what could happen to that. Again, potentially biggest or second biggest asset that you've got to leave. And, not knowing about things like, rights to reside, or, how different issues like, potential challenges to an estate can happen, and, what is going to happen as kind of a long-term potential consequence that you wouldn't have thought through unless somebody's asked you the question, because it's not what most people ever think about.
No.
Yes.
But it's the kind of stuff that really, that part in estate planning, it's the planning.
Okay.
Yeah.
About half of marriages fail, roughly.
Look at you, Mr. Positive. I'm doing my bit for that number. All right.
So roughly half. And so question, the will that I've got in place now, and then I get divorced, is that will still any good?
So it's still valid up until the date when the actual divorce comes through.
Right.
So if you haven't updated your will early, basically as soon as you know that you no longer want your spouse to get everything, which is probably what the will says, that's still going to apply if you die partway through the process.
Right.
So you need to update your will and all of those documents right at the beginning.
Very, very important.
Make sure that that's dealt with. Unfortunately,
same with beneficiaries in your super.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
definitely.
like you get divorced.
Yeah.
And Sally, who now is not your favourite person, she was 100% beneficiary before.
Yep.
Get it changed.
Absolutely.
Sal's not getting it.
No,
absolutely.
You missed out, Sal.
Yeah, absolutely. Binding
I've got
nomination.
a real world example I'd like to ask you. So I've got a friend who his father passed away not long ago.
Oh, sorry.
It wasn't expected. But the problem that they're having now is that one of the sons was named after the father, so they've got the same name.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's happened because of that is the hospice he was staying at, they've got issues. Everybody's got issues. Everything's been dragged out.
Yeah.
Is there a way? I mean, there's obviously a way around that, but What do you do?
Oh God. Well, ideally, don't name your kids exactly the same as the parents.
Seemed like a good idea at the time.
Yeah,
Could have just been Bill Jr. But
that's right.
I have seen it, and I end up having to. I'm very careful that I do make sure I add on something to at least one of the names to make it clear that it's the person we're talking about. It can be very difficult. Get down to date of birth or that's really the only.
Well, so good that you've got experience with that, so you have structures in place so you avoid that problem. Because they're having all sorts of dramas with that, and we all know what it really is, but people like to be difficult.
But of course, if you had a self-managed super fund, and you'd get back to that whole trustee business, God, don't you reduce the risks of hassles then? Because
hopefully
Bob and Betty, are directors of their own company that's a corporate trustee of a super fund.
Hopefully,
And then Betty dies, and Bob goes, "Well, okay, I'm the sole trustee. I'm running the show now. No hold-ups on, on insurance
control
payouts.
of your own destiny."
Yeah.
And that surely would be because it still can be contested, but I guess, but puts you far more in control, doesn't it?
Absolutely. And then obviously, if Bill and Betty are married and they've set up that self-managed super fund, and they're basically wanting to give each other everything anyway, even if there were a challenge from somebody, say a kid, then Bill as the trustee could decide to distribute to himself.
Yes.
However, there have been a few cases where that's been an issue, and it actually comes into question as to whether or not that trustee in their responsibility in that role took into account the challenge in the application and actually thought it through.
Right.
So there's been that can get a little bit difficult.
Mind you, if Bill's already gone and cashed it out and gone and bought a boat, and he's sailing on the high seas.
Yeah, it's a bit hard to chase then, isn't it?
Got the cash, got the boat.
But that's assuming though that the self-managed super fund has been set up properly and that you've got a corporate trustee. Because I still see elderly clients, they've got a self-managed super fund and they're the two members and the two trustees.
Oh, good.
But exactly. There's a massive problem because when one of them passes away, all of a sudden that super fund is non-compliant because you can't have
one single trustee.
Yes, exactly.
Yep.
I knew that. I've been listening.
Even for I even say elder, and I just think, do you have an accountant? Yep. What are they doing?
Yeah, accountants
what are they doing?
Side down.
Yeah,
what are they doing? And even the financial advisor.
And the financial advisors.
Why?
You've got to get the best of brand.
You really
There's
do.
No way it should get to that. No way, because it's such a mad schmozzle, and this poor person is grieving because they've just lost their partner of however many potentially decades. And there's mad schmozzle to appoint another person. It's
not just about having the right people as far as titles. Okay, it's the quality.
Yeah.
It is the quality of the advice.
Yeah.
I mean, this is not financial advice, obviously. This is a conversation about this sort of thing. And, people need to go further, do their research.
Absolutely.
Obviously, you've got a fantastic setup because you've gone and you vetted people. Anybody associated with Wealth by Design has been vetted for their quality.
Yeah,
right?
we got the best of brand name.
Absolutely, mate. Yeah, but I mean that saves a lot of pressure, a lot of heartache, knowing you're going to a trusted source and you know that you're actually dealing with people who are genuinely going to put your interests first. Yeah.
Rock and roll. Oh yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a good thing.
It's a very good
estate
thing,
planning fee. Thank you.
Yes.
You've done a great job today.
Been
Why are you so relaxed?
I know.
She's a pro.
Look far too calm. Jeez. I should have given you a Red Bull, not a
Thanks,
water.
Aaron.
Absolutely fantastic. Really appreciate your advice, and obviously Damo was on there before, and I'm sure he's going to contact you because get that organised. Yeah, great thing. Get hooked up with great people.
Yeah.
Hey, thank you very much for being part of Wealth by Design here on Edge Radio Australia.
We see an expert to check up on our health. We see an expert to check up on our car. Why don't we do the same with our finances? Jump online and book a free personal financial health check with Jeff Bowman from Wealth by Design. Knowledge is power. Follow the link on edgeradioaustralia.com. Design a future for you and your children. Wealth by Design.